What if I told you the most alien world we know isn't on Mars? It isn't on some distant exoplanet. It isn't even in deep space. It's here, right beneath you. Because while we've sent machines beyond the solar system, while we've walked on the moon, while we've mapped the surface of entire planets, we've barely explored our own ocean, less than 5% of it. That means over 95% of Earth's underwater world is still unseen, unmapped, unvisited, unknown. And down there, in the crushing darkness, there are creatures that don't feel real, animals that make their own light because the sun has never touched their world, predators that hunt using electricity, lifeforms that survive pressures so extreme they would crush a submarine like a soda can, things that look like they belong in science fiction, except they're not fiction. They're here, alive, right now. This is Secret Science, and this is the story of the deep ocean is more alien than space. And we've seen almost none of it. The ocean covers more than 70% of Earth's surface. It's the reason our planet looks blue from space. But what's terrifying is this. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the bottom of our own seas. Think about that. There are mountains, canyons, trenches, entire landscapes, larger than countries hidden under miles of water. And most humans will never see them. Because the deep ocean isn't just water. It's an entirely different world. A world where sunlight disappears completely, only a few hundred meters down. A world of freezing cold, near zero temperatures. A world where the pressure is so intense, your body would collapse instantly. And yet, life thrives there. Not just life, but life so bizarre. It challenges what we think is even possible. To understand just how alien it is, you have to imagine descending down past the surface waves, past the bright coral reefs, past the familiar fish, until the sunlight begins to fade at around 200 meters deep. The ocean starts to change, colors vanish. Red disappears first, then orange, then yellow, until the world becomes blue, dim, ghost-like. This is the ocean's twilight zone. And in that twilight, something begins to appear. Tiny flashes, faint sparks, like stars scattered through black water. These aren't reflections. They aren't tricks of the light. They are living organisms, producing light from their own bodies. A phenomenon called bioluminescence. It's one of the strangest survival tools ever evolved, because down here, light is power. Light is bait. Light is camouflage. Light is communication. In the darkness, the ability to glow is the difference between life and death. Some creatures use it to disappear, matching the faint glow above them so predators can't see their silhouette. Others use it like a warning, and some use it as a trap. The most famous example is the anglerfish, a predator drifting silently through black water, with a glowing lure hanging from its head like a lantern in the void. Small fish, desperate for anything in the darkness, swim closer, thinking it's food. And then, in a single snap, they vanish, swallowed whole. That light isn't beauty. It's a weapon, and it's the first sign of a deeper truth. In the deep ocean, evolution doesn't create cute, it creates efficient. And sometimes, that efficiency looks monstrous. But the twilight zone is only the beginning. Because the ocean keeps going down and down, until even that faint blue glow disappears. At around 1,000 meters deep, you enter a place of permanent night. The midnight zone here. There is no sunlight, none, only darkness that has existed for millions of years. And yet, creatures still move. They still hunt, they still survive. But they do it with adaptations so extreme, they feel impossible. Some fish become nearly invisible, transparent bodies, so predators can't find them. Some grow enormous eyes to capture the faintest flicker of light, and others abandon sight completely, because vision is useless when darkness is absolute. Instead, they sense the ocean in ways humans never could. They detect vibrations, they taste chemicals in the water, They feel movement from meters away. And some predators take it even further. They don't just hunt with teeth. They hunt with electricity. The electric eel is one of the most shocking examples. Its body is essentially a living battery, capable of generating bursts of voltage, strong enough to stun prey, or even knock back a human. Imagine that. In the deep ocean, there are animals that weaponize lightning. And if something like that exists, what else exists down there? Unseen. Because we still haven't reached the deepest parts, not even close. The ocean continues downward for miles, until it reaches trenches so deep they feel unreal. Places where the pressure becomes almost unimaginable. At the bottom of the deepest trench on Earth, the Mariana Trench. The weight of the ocean above is so crushing it would destroy almost anything we've built. And for a long time, scientists assumed nothing could live there. That it was too extreme, too dark, too cold, too impossible. But when we finally sent cameras down, we didn't find emptiness. We found movement. Life waiting in the deepest place on the planet. And that's when the ocean stopped feeling like water and started feeling like a hidden world. A world that has been here the entire time, just out of reach. The deeper humans travel into the ocean, the more the rules of reality begin to break apart. Because down here, life doesn't look familiar anymore. It doesn't look like something from Earth. It looks like something that slipped through the cracks of evolution. Something built for a world with no sunlight, no warmth, and no mercy. Once you pass the midnight zone, you enter the abyss. The abyssal zone is not a place. It's a planet-sized graveyard of darkness stretching across the ocean floor. Temperatures hover just above freezing. The pressure becomes so intense that steel can bend. And yet, this is one of the largest habitats on Earth. An ecosystem we almost never see. A world where the surface feels like a myth. And the creatures here are some of the strangest ever discovered. One of the most unreal is something called the lifefish. At first it seems almost normal, until you notice its head, transparent, like a glass dome. And inside that dome, its eyes, not on the outside, but deep within its skull, rotating upward like living telescopes. Because, in the abyss, vision isn't about looking forward. It's about searching for the faintest glow. Above every flicker could be food or a predator. And down here, predators don't just hide. They disguise themselves as light. This is where bioluminescence becomes something else entirely. Not beauty, not decoration, but deception. A language of flashes and signals in a world that has never seen the sun. And the deeper you go, the more unsettling it becomes. Because these creatures aren't rare. They're not accidents. They are perfectly adapted to conditions that should crush life out of existence. Which means the deep ocean isn't empty. It's alive, and we've barely scratched the surface. Then there are creatures like the vampire squid. Despite the name, it isn't really a squid. And it isn't a vampire. It's something ancient. A drifting shadow with dark red skin and webbed arms that fold around its body like a cloak. When threatened, it doesn't ink like other animals. Instead, it releases glowing particles, a cloud of bioluminescent sparks that hang in the water like stars exploding in slow motion. A distraction, a hallucination. Because escape down here is the difference between existing and vanishing forever. And then there's the goblin shark. A predator so bizarre, it looks unfinished. Pale skin, a long twisted snout, and jaws that can launch forward out of its skull like a mechanical trap. It doesn't chase prey, it waits. And when something drifts too close, snap, gone. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the hidden side of the universe, consider subscribing. We explore science mysteries every week. And if this sparked your curiosity, leave a comment. Which is more terrifying, life on another planet, or life beneath our own oceans? Now, let's keep going. Because as strange as the abyss is, it still isn't the deepest place on Earth. The abyss has a floor, but beyond that floor, the ocean splits open into trenches. Cracks in the planet so deep they feel impossible. Places where the pressure becomes almost unimaginable, where the weight of miles of water above could destroy nearly anything humans have ever built. For a long time, scientists assumed nothing could live there, that it was too extreme, too dark, too cold, too crushing. But when we finally sent cameras down, we didn't find emptiness. We found movement, life, waiting, which leaves one terrifying thought. If creatures can survive in the abyss, what kind of life could exist in the deepest trenches of all, where Earth reaches its absolute limit? The trenches are where the ocean stops feeling like an ecosystem and starts feeling like a boundary, a place Earth wasn't meant to cross. These are the deepest scars on the planet. Vast cracks in the seafloor, plunging downward for miles, far deeper than Mount Everest is tall. The most famous is the Mariana Trench. Its lowest point Challenger Deep reaches nearly 11 kilometers down, almost 7 miles. That is deeper than most commercial airplanes fly above Earth, and down there, the pressure becomes almost incomprehensible, more than 1,000 times the pressure at sea level. Enough to crush steel, enough to shatter glass, enough to destroy almost any machine we send. For decades, scientists believed nothing could possibly survive there, because how could life exist in freezing darkness under the weight of an entire ocean? But then we looked, and what we found was not emptiness. It was movement. The first deep-sea submersibles that reached the trench floor reported something surreal. The bottom wasn't barren. It wasn't silent. It was alive. One of the strangest discoveries was a creature called the snailfish. A small, ghostly animal drifting through the deepest water ever explored. Its body is soft, almost gelatinous, because down here, bones and rigid structures become liabilities. Under this much pressure, being fragile is survival, and the snailfish isn't alone. There are amphipods, tiny crustaceans, scavenging in the darkness. There are sea cucumbers crawling across the trench floor like alien machines. There are organisms that have adapted to conditions so extreme they redefine what habitable even means. And then came one of the most unsettling discoveries of all. Scientists found life, not just surviving, but thriving. Around something that shouldn't support life at all. Hydrothermal vents. Deep cracks in the seafloor where the Earth itself leaks heat and chemicals into the ocean. These vents can reach temperatures hotter than boiling water. And yet, surrounding them are entire ecosystems. Not powered by sunlight, but by chemistry. Life that doesn't need the sun. Bacteria that feed on sulfur compounds rising from inside the planet. And then larger creatures feed on them. Giant tube worms, blind shrimp, crabs adapted to toxic water. It's a food chain built on the Earth's internal energy, which is terrifying, because it means life can exist in places we never imagined. Not because conditions are gentle, but because evolution finds a way. And if life can thrive in the deepest trench on Earth, in total darkness, under crushing pressure, feeding on chemicals from the planet's core, then what does that say about the rest of the ocean we've never seen? Because Challenger Deep is only one point. There are trenches across the world that remain barely explored, and every expedition discovers something new. New species, new adaptations, new nightmares. Which leads to a thought that's hard to shake. The deep ocean isn't a void. It's a hidden world. One that has been evolving for hundreds of millions of years without us watching. And even now, we've only glimpsed it through a camera lens. Because the deeper we go, the more it feels like the ocean isn't just hiding creatures. It's hiding secrets. And some of those secrets aren't alive at all. They're sounds, signals, unexplained events echoing through the deep that scientists still can't fully explain. Even after everything we've discovered, the creatures, the trenches, the ecosystems without sunlight, the most unsettling truth is this: the deep ocean is still mostly unknown. And sometimes it reminds us of that in ways that feel almost impossible, because the ocean doesn't just hide life, it hides events. Mysteries, things we detect, but don't fully understand. For example, in the 1990s, scientists monitoring underwater microphones, called hydrophones, picked up a sound unlike anything recorded before. A sound so powerful, it echoed across thousands of miles of ocean. They called it the bloop. It was deeper than any whale call, louder than almost any known biological source. For a moment, people wondered, could something enormous be down there? Something undiscovered? Something too large to imagine? Later, researchers suggested it may have been ice fracturing. But the fact remains. For a while, the ocean produced a signal we couldn't explain. And that's not the only one. There are dozens of strange underwater sounds, upsweep, whistle, Julia recordings that remind us how little we truly know about the world beneath the surface, because sound travels farther in water than in air. The deep ocean is like a dark auditorium, and sometimes something speaks. Then there are the sightings. Shapes caught on sonar, massive shadows moving just beyond the edge of visibility. The ocean is so vast that even large animals can remain hidden. Consider the colossal squid. For centuries, it was myth, a sea monster story, until scientists confirmed it was real. A creature with eyes the size of dinner plates, arms lined with hooks, living in the deep dark. And it raises an unsettling question. If something that massive could remain unseen for so long, what else might still exist? Because the ocean has depth and distance that dwarfs our exploration. Most expeditions only last days. Most submersibles can only reach certain zones. And the pressure destroys technology as easily as it destroys bone. So the deep remains a frontier. Not in space, but here on Earth. And there's another mystery, one that might be the strangest of all. The deep ocean may hold clues to the origin of life itself. Hydrothermal vents show us that life doesn't require sunlight. It can begin with chemistry, heat, minerals, energy rising from within a planet, which means the deep ocean isn't just an alien world. It might be the oldest world, a place where Earth's first life could have started, long before forests, long before animals walked on land, before the surface was familiar at all. The deep ocean is like a time capsule of another Earth, and we are only visitors. Brief flashes of light in a realm that has existed in darkness for eons. So when you look at the ocean now, it isn't just water, it's a hidden planet. A world beneath the world, full of creatures that glow, hunt with electricity, survive impossible pressure, and mysteries that still echo through the deep. Because we haven't explored the ocean, not really. We've explored the edges, and what we've seen so far is only enough to make one thing clear. The deepest parts of Earth are still watching back. The strangest part about the deep ocean isn't just the creatures. It isn't the glowing hunters or the transparent fish or the predators built like nightmares. It's what the deep ocean represents, because for all our technology, for all our satellites, for all our knowledge, there is still a world on this planet that remains almost untouched. A vast ecosystem older than humanity itself, evolving in darkness while we lived our entire lives on the surface. The deep ocean is Earth's reminder that the unknown isn't always out there among the stars. Sometimes it's here, beneath us, waiting. Every expedition into the abyss reveals something new, a species never seen before, a behavior never imagined, a landscape more alien than anything we've photographed in space. And what's unsettling is that the deeper we go, the more it feels like we're not discovering a simple extension of our world. We're discovering a hidden planet inside our own, a place where evolution took a different path, where life learned to glow, to shock, to disappear, to survive pressure that should destroy it. And if 95% of the ocean is still unexplored, then the greatest mysteries of Earth may not be in ancient ruins or distant galaxies, but in the dark water beneath the waves. Because somewhere down there, there are creatures we haven't named yet, Ecosystems we haven't mapped. Signals we haven't understood. The deep ocean isn't finished, surprising us. It's barely begun. Which means the most alien world we know isn't millions of miles away. It's right here, silent, endless, and still watching. Which brings us to the final question, the one worth sitting with. If 95% of the ocean is still unexplored, what do you think we'll discover next? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the hidden side of the universe. Drop a like if this sparked your curiosity, and if this mystery intrigued you, you might enjoy what's coming next.